I was really optimistic as an 18-year-old. Also very stupid. I met a guy on Tinder who was studying law and was a couple of years older than me. He knew some common acquaintances, so I figured he was an alright dude. We spoke for a while, and he really liked talking about tying me up extreme bondage style. I'm pretty kinky too, so I was okay with it for the most part. Cut to when I decided to go over to his place to spend the night after a tournament I attended. It was a momentary plan, so I told my parents I was staying at a friend's house. I forgot to tell my friends where I was going. He picked me up, so I didn't take a cab either, and I didn't know the exact location of his house. I just remember it was very deep in the suburb. Anyways, we go in and I've had a long day, so I want to shower. He refused to let me close the bathroom door at first. Then I insisted and he told me it doesn't have a lock, so he can come in whenever he wants. I told him not to. Except, as soon as I took my clothes off, he barged in and hugged me and tried to kiss me. I was really weirded out and asked him to leave, and he finally did, and I showered and borrowed a shirt. I came back and laid down next to him, and we were talking when he said, "You don't know my address, right?" And I told him I didn't. Then he paused for a minute and said in a very odd way, "So, nobody knows where you are right now except me." I hadn't told any of my friends I was meeting him either. I was really freaked out, so I tried to text my friend, but he took away my phone and started kissing my face. And then I just pretended to be really tired and told him I wanted to sleep and that he could wake me up in a bit to resume. I slept, did not wake up when he tried to make me, got out of there first thing in the morning. Swore to myself I'd never do this again and never have. That friend's common acquaintance, based on whom I had trusted this guy, turned out to be a rapist. Okay, so it all started in 2017, when a friend introduced me to her friend and we started dating. After a few months I broke up with him, because he was just very childish and mean. So we didn't talk after that, because we didn't break up on very good terms and we lived far from each other. Fast forward a year and a half later. It's a nice Saturday morning. A good friend stayed at my house for the night. We had a lot of fun, so I woke up pretty late. When I opened my phone, I saw that someone requested to follow my Instagram account. I checked it out, and it was an account with my face as the profile picture, and the bio saying, "Hi, it's July's spam account. I might not approve you because this is for my close friends, but try your luck." My friend was just waking up next to me. I called her over and showed the page to her. She was very confused. I immediately thought that it was a friend just messing with me. I called her and she really had no idea. I assumed it was her because I saw the account was following her class's Instagram account, which, by the way, I didn't know was a thing people did. Since it wasn't her, I started to investigate. First, the profile picture is my WhatsApp profile pic, and I set it to be only seen by those that are in my contacts, so it had to be someone I knew. Second, it followed my second account that only close friends knew I ran. And third, the friend from earlier is the same friend that introduced me to my ex, so it's her class too. I decided to DM the person and I asked, "What the fuck?" He answered and said it was a joke. I insisted to know who it was, and he said that he met me in 2017 in some conversation and that I probably don't remember him. Sure, buddy. It really didn't take a genius to realize it was my ex. And weirdly enough, suddenly, out of nowhere, he texted me. After we didn't talk for a year and a half, he just randomly asked me about some movie. It was pretty strange, I would say. After we chatted for a very few awkward minutes, he said, "I have to tell you something. It was me who opened the account." "No shit, man," I said. "Nah, it's okay. I kinda knew." And it was so weird. A few moments later, he tried to hit on me. What the fuck again, man? This was so bizarre. You don't talk to me for a year and a half and just randomly do this? I was actually so scared, seeing someone using my picture as the icon and claiming to be me. God, and the worst thing is, I actually talked to him for months after that because I'm terrible at saying no. Only when our mutual friend intervened, we finally stopped talking. Thank God, he sucks. A year ago, I was at a band competition and it was very cool. While I was there, I met a really cute boy. I was 16 at the time, and he was a nerd that liked video games like myself. He looked like a completely normal dude. I was brave and somehow asked him for his number, even though I'm really shy usually. Anyways, we texted for a while and I really liked him. He was funny and sweet and he liked wholesome memes like me. So we planned a date and went to the movies together. I had a really nice time. Now comes the weird part. We were texting for a bit and we both asked each other random questions, to get to know each other. It was normal and all that until he asked me, "What would you do in a zombie apocalypse?" I answered that I would probably be the first to die, which is true. Then I asked him back the same question, and he said the following. "I think I would be okay because I've always fantasized about killing people." And then, for like 10 minutes, he told me in great detail some deeply disturbing stuff about how exactly he wanted to do it, what he would use, how it would look and feel. I was horrified. I didn't know what to say. So I just moved on and asked what his favorite Pokemon was. Yeah, I know, but I didn't know what to say. Then I ended the conversation that night and tried to act like everything's normal. But I knew it was messed up, and I was actually really scared. So I sent him a text that I don't want to date him because I have to study for finals, and I really have to focus. He was upset and constantly asked to meet, so I'd explain why. Everyone always tells me I'm too nice sometimes, and I've got some problems with saying no, so I said yes. I'm stupid, I'm well aware, but I just felt so bad. What if he was just joking and I misunderstood? My parents only agreed that I could meet him at my house, so they know I'm safe. So yeah, he came over, now he knows where I live, and my entire family was home watching TV that day. My aunt and cousins and my grandpa, and they all got weird like, "Oh, who's the boy?" It was so bad. So he comes into my room, sits on my bed, and I eventually tell him that he kind of freaked me out that day. Then he says, "I knew it had something to do with that." Yeah, no shit. And he started telling me even more things, like how his school told him at some point last year that he can't come to school because he, and I quote, "is a danger to himself and others at the school, and that they can't have him there until he undergoes psychiatric evaluations to show that he's stable." Then he said that he went to that meeting and faked being okay, which is the biggest red flag. How good of a liar is he? I know from others at his school a little bit about what happened that led to this, but I will not share it as it's triggering and also very private to him. He also said that at night he mostly doesn't sleep because he has hallucinations. I was freaked out. I kept saying, "It's okay and not messed up at all." I tried to understand, and I think that I did. He has some problems, and it's not my place to solve them. But he is a dangerous person to me, and I should keep my distance. He isn't a bad person. He just needs to solve some things with himself. So I tried to cut things off, but he kept texting me every day around the same time asking to chat or meet. Every time I said I couldn't. This went on for about 2 weeks. And at one point, I said that I can't chat because I was going to do a show at the Teens Club where I met him in the first place. And he just showed up. Came up to me, grabbed my hand and said, "July, I would do anything to be here with you tonight." And he started telling me how he can't enjoy the things he loves anymore because we're not together, and how he would love to get one more chance because he felt like we had great chemistry. And I still said no, even though it was really hard, because again, I'm very bad at saying no. After a while of this, I finally texted him that I wished to not speak anymore because I felt like I was leading him on and all that. He was very upset and tried to convince me not to. Eventually he agreed and we stopped talking, and that was it. I'm still kind of nervous because we live in the same rather small town and he knows where I live. In addition, people who know him told me that after everything went down, he was heartbroken. We went on one date, and he told everyone I was mean and fat, which I find quite funny, honestly. So that's my weird story, and I feel like some more dumb drama will come, and if it does, I promise to update. 2 years ago, I started going to a church a few Sundays a month with a friend. She had raved about the place and how nice the people were, and so I figured that if my very progressive, feminist, left-leaning friend enjoyed it, then I might too. The pastor is this young hipster guy who is also very progressive, as are a lot of the congregation, so I can see why she enjoyed the vibe of the place. It's the opposite of a hell'em damnation sinners go to hell type place. Anyways, after a few Sundays, I noticed this guy looking at me and smiling all flirty at me and being polite. Now, I know that being nice to someone doesn't automatically mean they want to get with you, but I could tell this was more than that. It progressed a bit, and he started talking to me before and after the service, and soon after, he asked if I'd like to get coffee with him. Sounded good to me, so we arranged to meet up for coffee during the week at some point. The date was nice. He was a gentleman and he seemed genuinely interested in me. I was a bit put off by the fact that he kept telling me that he could see himself falling in love with me, that he thought we had good chemistry, and how much he really liked me. I just shrugged this off. He was an enthusiastic person in most other things, so I just figured he was enthusiastic about love and dating too. About an hour after our coffee date had ended, he was already sending me friend requests on social media and messaging to ask if I'd like to go out again. We go out again for dinner, have another great time, agree that the date went well, and we sleep together that night. Again, throughout the date, he was very enthusiastic about me and gushing over me, to the point where it made me uncomfortable. He was talking about wanting to sweep me off my feet and be extra romantic. But again, I just passed this off as him being him. We see each other a few more times, and slowly the facade falls. What started out as being enthusiastic about dating turns to neediness and wanting to text every hour of every day. He sends roses and chocolates to my workplace, which I appreciate, but I felt it was too much. I tell him it was a nice gesture, but he didn't need to do that. I told him that I didn't want to be placed on this podium. I'm just a regular person. He gets offended and pissy and sulks. I get upset too. He apologizes by buying me more gifts, and now, what I realize is the pity card. So I'd feel sorry for him. No one understands me, I don't have very many friends, and I haven't dated in a while. So I invite him in, and all the while his behavior is being very sort of submissive and shy. I feel bad for him, sleep with him that night. He leaves in the morning, but not before telling me that he never liked me, and we didn't have chemistry, and he couldn't see himself with someone like me. I was gobsmacked. I was so humiliated, and I felt so stupid. Later on, when he texted, trying to get a foot back in the door and floated an idea of being friends with benefits, I ignored him and blocked the number and did a mass deletion of him on social media. I decided that he wasn't going to stop me from going to church that Sunday, so I walked in there with my head held high, ignoring him. I still felt so stupid that I'd fallen for that crap, but I wasn't going to give him the satisfaction of knowing that. That evening, I got a message on Facebook from a woman who also attended the church. She basically said, "Perhaps this isn't my place, but you need to know about him." And then she detailed that he had done the same to her. She also told me of 2 other women who used to go to that church but didn't anymore because he'd done that to them too. When I saw him getting overly comfortable with my friend, I gave her a heads up. I stopped going to church last year, not because of him, but because church just isn't for me, even one as progressive as that one. Let's not meet again. Guy who uses church as a dating service. Nowadays, it's so easy to connect with someone. All you have to do is pick up your phone, download an app, and boom, you can see all the eligible bachelors in a close radius without even getting out of bed. But just a year ago, something happened that changed my mind about online dating forever. I was 21 at the time and getting a bit tired of mundane life. I was scrolling through a popular dating app, and that's when I saw him. Tall, blonde, blue-eyed, pretty smile, perfect. We instantly matched and agreed on dinner and cuddles at his place. Yes, I know. Never go to a stranger's house on the first date, but I was trying to score a home run, if you know what I mean. I shower, slip on my favorite pair of matching knickers, threw on a big t-shirt and shorts, rubbed on my favorite perfume, and I was out the door. When I pulled up to his 3-story townhouse, I thought, his living arrangement seems to match up with his line of work. So of course I had no doubt that he was who he said he was. I go up to the door and knock. About 15 seconds later, the most handsome man I've ever laid eyes on opened the door. Instantly, we connected. We dated for about 4 weeks, when one day he looks over at me and says, "Can I tell you something?" "Well, of course, babe," I quickly answer, eager to hear what he had to say. He looks me dead in my eyes, straight-faced, and says, "When I saw you on that app, I planned to kill you." His hand reached over and caressed mine, but then I changed my mind. Chills went down my spine as I knew he was not joking. Completely paralyzed in fear, I just stared at him. I was unable to speak. I couldn't move. He moves in closer and says, "Babe?" And that's when I snapped out of it. I grabbed my purse, ran out of his house, blocked and deleted his number, and quite frankly, deleted the whole app. Hot guy from dating app? Let's not meet ever fucking again. This is something that happened to me a couple of days ago, and hope it fits the theme. I met this guy on Instagram who ran a shoutout page and asked me if I wanted a shoutout. I was like, sure, why not? The condition was I'd follow his private Instagram account and send him the desired picture, so I did. Nothing shady. We had small talk and he seemed nice. He was Lebanese, and me having been a Lebanese in the West for the past 10 months, I missed speaking my own language with someone who had the time of day to give. All my other friends were too busy with uni, and I didn't blame or wanted to bother them. Fast forward a couple of days with zero talk. He messages me from his private account asking if I knew any good tattoo artists. I told him I didn't, and that I wasn't in Lebanon anyways. He starts talking about how he also wanted to immigrate and things like that. We decided to take the conversation elsewhere, so I gave him my number and we began talking on WhatsApp. Eventually we get into a call that same afternoon after I get out of work. I was on my way back home and I had to take the bus. Things seemed fine. He did seem quite impolite at times, but that was the temperament of a lot of Lebanese people that I used to know, so it didn't really surprise me. Besides, I was feeling very lonely. He did cross the line a couple of times and I decided to ignore it. For example, during that initial conversation, he commented on how he liked my page, but there was one thing he couldn't get out of his mind or eyes off of, and he told me that I probably guessed what it was. I did, which is what bothered me, and I hate myself for not having called him out on it. I swiftly moved past this topic, either way by completely ignoring his comment and talking about something different. The next day, he sends me the picture of a random girl who was passing beside his window. He had the laughing emoji as caption. I asked him what this was about, and he says, "Nothing, I just catch these women from afar." I thought it was very creepy and quite frankly disgusting. I asked him why he'd even given me this information, and he said that he was just joking, so I let it slide. We still get into a call that evening on my way back home, and the morning after that, which would be a Saturday where I was working overtime. We talked about him traveling over at some point or me visiting my home country so he could meet me in person. I wasn't really keen on the idea, but never said anything of it. I left work that Saturday and was chatting on the bus with a colleague. Suddenly, creepo dude calls me out of nowhere and I pick up. The conversation made little sense in my head, but this is how it went down. Him. "Okay, so you know how you left Lebanon and put it in your head that you wanted to work and make money?" Me. Yeah? Him. "Similarly, you have to put it in your head that you need to call me every morning and every evening." He sounded pretty angry and pretty serious. I was very much taken aback. The dude went from unconventional and kind of funny to very much like, "Yandere?" I asked him if he was serious. He responded by asking me, "What, you don't like it?" And then I asked him, "What, do I have nothing better to do in my life than speak with you? Like, do I have no one else but you?" The entire exchange sounds more hostile in my language. I wish I could translate it better to convey this. He told me that if I didn't like it, then I could leave. I didn't hesitate or second guess. I was like, "Okay, bye," and I hung up. I then messaged him to let him know that this was uncool and that I was on the bus with a colleague. He told me to forget about it. I type into the conversation the part about me having to call him every morning and evening, and he once more tells me to forget about it. I said, "Wow, I have nothing else to tell you." He responds by saying, "Okay." I block him on WhatsApp. Next day evening, he starts an Instagram live that I briefly joined to say, "Okay," and then block him after he tried video calling me. I checked his shoutout page this morning, and my picture is still there, so I guess too bad. I was stupid for letting so many little things he did slide, but I guess I was desperate for a friend and tried giving him too many chances. I'm glad he eventually showed his true colors. I think I dodged a bullet. So, weird, creepy, pervy, controlling dude? let's not ever meet. This happened about 6 years ago. I was single and on Bumble. I met Zack, and after talking a bit, agreed to meet. We went for dinner and got on well. He had brought flowers and arranged with the waiters to put them on the table, which I thought was unexpected but nice. He had been to a good school and had a good job, and was polite and funny. He basically checked every box on paper. He told stories about his friends and family. All seemed totally normal. We went for drinks after dinner and went home. The next morning, I got a text from him. "I had a great time, let's do it again." Although there was nothing wrong with him, I just didn't feel the spark, so I said, "Thanks so much for a great night," and explained it wasn't really what I was looking for, but had a nice time meeting him. I expected that to be it, or him to say no worries, but I got another text. What was wrong? Least you can do is give it another chance. He offered drinks nearby. I didn't answer. That's where things took a turn. Zack started sending me extremely long messages. "How dare you do this? We had something really special. I've talked to all my friends and they say it sounded like it was something special too." He would get angry. "You're selfish and heartless. How can you hurt me like this? The least you can do is answer me," and would then apologize. "I'm sorry. I'm a good guy. I just feel so strongly about this because I've never felt this way before and know this is true love. I need to know why you don't see it too. Please just tell me what went wrong. Let me give you the chance to see what I see." It went on and on, essay-length messages about how he felt about me and what we could be together. This continued all day, every day, for around a week, 20+ long messages a day. He would also continuously call me. By the weekend, I was getting calls almost every 10 minutes. My doorbell had also started to ring continuously. When I checked the door camera, whoever it was crouching down so I couldn't see them. That day I blocked his number. I didn't get any more surprise visits and moved shortly after. In the following years, I met someone and we had a son together. Life went on. In the last week, I checked my LinkedIn and Instagram. I had 2 new requests, both from Zack. So, although you seemingly still want to, Zack, let's not meet again.